If you ever see me pause at any point in this video, and maybe I usually edit these moments out, but if I ever pause and look up in this general direction, it's because there's a tiny spider in the top corner of my room. And every time I stand here and talk to myself, I think, man, I should probably help him out, get him out of the house. But maybe he likes it here. He's freeloading. And not all spiders are bad spiders, you know what I mean? Or so we're told. So we are told. There's been this thing repeating in my life where I'm constantly brought back to this moment in college. The first college I went to was a state college in Massachusetts. I was majoring in theater and speech communications, and I had been doing it for about 3.5 years, I guess. I was really close to getting the degree, and I was struggling so hard. It was a commuter school. I was pretty much working 40 hours a week, just under. And because of the theater aspect, I was doing all this extracurricular stuff at night, and so I was working myself pretty hard. I had finally gotten to a point where I had given what was literally the best audition I had ever done. If you have never auditioned, if you have never put yourself in a situation where you are performing for people, it's like a job interview, but like there's this added element to it, because you're not just selling yourself, you're selling a craft or the idea that you could play characters or whatever. And I was pretty bad at it. I'm not gonna lie, I was bad at auditioning. But I nailed this audition for this role that I really wanted in this show that I really wanted to be in, directed by a director I really wanted to work with. And as part of the theater program, it was something I really wanted to accomplish. And then I bombed my callback. And not only did I bomb my callback, the person whom was also up for the role, who also gave a great audition, nailed it. And he was so talented and so good, I couldn't even be mad. I was just like, look, like he's got this, you know, like whatever. I'm getting beyond the point. So shortly after that happened, after I bombed the callback, the director, who was also a professor, set up a meeting with me, and I met with him, and he was like, look, what are you doing? And I will never forget this. And it's hung, I'm talking about, I'm gonna date myself here. I'm talking about 2002. He sat me down in his office and he was like, look, like, you're so quirky. Even your name, it just is so confusing. Like, you know, you don't look like a Sanchez. He's like, I would really love to see you take gymnastics classes and play Puck in Midsummer Night's Dream. Like, there's so much I want to see from you, but like, what are you doing? If you keep going down this path, you will be a jack of all trades and a master of none. And he was right. He was so right. That's the problem with this, is that in the moment, I sort of understood what he was saying. I sort of glimpsed into the future and saw what he was seeing. But right now, so many years later, I see what he was saying. Like, I finally get it. At that time, I was technically a performance major, but I was trying to do screenwriting. I had done stage managing. I had toyed with set design, lighting design, anything else you could do within the world of theater. I was kind of sticking my hands in it and trying to see if I was any good at these things, because when I believed in myself and I had the confidence, acting worked. I could do it. But when there was even like a shadow of doubt, I just couldn't commit to the thing. It didn't help that I always felt like the program, if people coming into the program already had confidence, already knew their strengths, already knew that they could, you know, play such and such a role, they could sing, that if they had dancing experience, whatever, they would come into the situation knowing they had all of that going for them. Whereas people like me came into it thinking like, look, I didn't come from a privileged place of having access to instruments or to proper training. Like, I literally went to a school where we had to fight for extracurricular activities, I had a very limited understanding of the scope of what it meant to be part of these things. And so the program didn't really, like, for people like me, it was like, hey, like, get your act together, like, believe in yourself, just come in here and you know, do the work to do the thing. And it took me years to get to places where other people came into the program at. Like, they came in, like, ready, and I was like, I don't know that I'm ready for this. Trust me, I think I'm gonna get to a point here soon. If I don't, my apologies. I had the we lost focus there for a minute. I had the privilege of working with some incredibly talented people. Still to this day, like, I feel like my life has been blessed with working with very talented actors and writers and directors. And but I eventually moved to Chicago to go to film school and work on screenwriting. And then from Chicago, I moved to LA. And we fast forward to this moment in which I swear this has a point. I, on multiple occasions, feel like I was never the most talented person in the room. There was always somebody better than me. And I'm still Facebook friends and friends in real life with people who I look at and I'm like, man, like, they are more talented than me. They have more of whatever than I do. And I constantly feel like I'm making up for lost time, or that I'm making up for moments where I didn't take that note and I didn't focus on a thing and say, this is the thing I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to master it. I did something long enough to be like, oh, you know, I'm kind of okay at this. Like, what about this thing? Oh, what about this thing over here? Like, maybe I could be okay at that. Like, oh, look, kind of like you know, a cat with shiny objects. I was just like, give me a little bit of everything. And now I'm at a point in my life where it would really be helpful if I had mastered something, and that if I really did hone in on a skill and kind of own it and work on it. And I think I forget how to do that, or I feel like maybe I've missed the boat on a lot of things, and so I feel like it's too late to master something. I don't know if that's like societal pressure that makes us feel that way, or if it's just all up in here. Because let's face it, I do get in my head a lot. And there's a lot of judge and jury that goes on up in here that, let's say it's ruled by fear, and it prevents me from doing things that I could do otherwise if I could just get outside of this. So I think the point I'm trying to make is that I've become a jack of all trades, and I feel like there are so many things I feel confident enough to just do at a place of like, yeah, I could do that. But do I want to pursue that inevitably? Do I want to do that as a career choice? There is this expectation, and it's becoming more and more true, that you will just brand yourself, that you will have confidence in your own work, and that you will pursue your own work and be able to sell yourself to other people and walk into a room and say, this is what I'm good at. I never mastered that. Even that part, I can't get to. And I'll write something that I feel like is good, but, you know, needs a little bit of attention and some editing and some crafting. And other people read it and they're like, my God, like this is really good. Like, you really need to write more. Like, write more. In my head, I'm like, I know that, like, if I committed myself to these things, that there would be some sort of end game or end goal that would reap benefits of, like, oh, well, look, I am a writer, or, you know, even if it was I am an actor, or I can juggle. Sometimes I just need to center myself. Anyway, jack of all trades. I'm trying really hard to focus myself at this age and to recognize that there's still time for me to take the skills I do have and to master them in a way that is beneficial to me, that feels successful, that feels like, oh, okay. Because even calling myself a writer lately has felt kind of weird. I feel like in order to be a writer, you have to write. And writing and photography are in a place right now where, like, everyone's a photographer, everyone's a writer. But the people who actually are photographers, who are like mastering a craft, and the people who actually are writers, who are mastering a craft, look at that statement and they're like, man, that's not true. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then you should, maybe like this video. I will see you next week. I don't know what that was.